Welcome to Focus on Albany. I'm Cynthia Pooler. My guest today is Councilman Sergio Adams, and Sergio and I are going to talk about Lincoln Park. So there's going to be a lot of stuff done in Lincoln Park, right?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on the show again. And just to mention, yes, the Lincoln Park Master Plan is something that has been in its development phases for um, hmm, almost a little over 5 years in terms of just getting the plans together. But the idea of the redevelopment of Lincoln Park has been discussed for, close to 10 years now. And so we're finally at the point where we're starting to see some of the progress happen inside of the park. I believe over the summertime, the new basketball courts and playground was just opened down on Eagle Street, which turned out really nice. So there's a lot of things happening inside the park and a lot to cover.
So ultimately, how much is this going to cost?
So we just did a press conference about 3 weeks ago to discuss the Lincoln Park pool and its funding. And at that meeting and at that press conference, myself and some other of the elected officials had the opportunity to meet um, Admittance, who is the CEO of Business for Good. And so we met Ed because of the involvement he has in the community. The project itself is estimated to cost between 10 to $15 million for the renovations. And because of that high price tag, the city is looking for people to help fundraise and get that money together so that the burden doesn't fall on taxpayers and residents here in the city. So um, it costs a lot, but the project itself is a phenomenal project with the developments that are happening inside the park. So
So the reason I asked was Kathy Fahey, who was the council person before you, I would ask her about fixing the steps. And she would say, "Oh, there's no money in it." So, from fixing the steps to this huge project, there's a lot that went into it. So,
Mhm.
fixing the steps to what it is today, can you elaborate on that?
Yes. And so based off the information and just like the knowledge I know based off like the history of the steps and stuff and the access to the bowl, it was interesting that that the city eventually did put in the steps and make the bowl handicap accessible. I think that was just about 2 years ago, maybe a little bit more now. But the the process to even get there, as you mentioned, it takes a long time where even council members in these situations are getting information or finding out information or learning information um, not until later on. And so I guess for former councilwomen in the moment, it probably wasn't a issue that was getting a lot of traction or movement for them to properly speak on or give out information. So again, in this um, planning phase of the Lincoln Park, the biggest thing that myself and other constituents in the Seventh Ward are concerned about is making sure that the communication between the city, park and recreation, and the outreach efforts are inclusive of more people. So that way, Cynthia, like yourself and other people, you can be well informed on what's going on as it relates to the progress and the phases of each of these projects.
So from the time that I asked Kathy Fahey, about the steps until right now, or looking into the future, what will be done to Lincoln Park?
So that's a good question. As I mentioned, there's so much stuff that's happening with inside the park, from not only improving the access inside the park and to the bowl, but again, Lincoln Park is 68 acres that takes up part of the South End area, Delaware Avenue corridor, and this project, again, it's a comprehensive project that is focusing on different phases. And so when we break down the project, we have the Beaver Creek Sewer project that's happening on the mid to upper part of Lincoln Park, where that project is primarily focused on dealing with the sewage and overflow issues that the city has been dealing with for years. And that in itself project is a standalone project. So over, I guess, since 2019, beginning of 2020, when the project had started, the Beaver Creek project has been moving along separately compared to the rest of the park. And so the press conference and the information that had went out a few weeks ago about the Lincoln Park pool is now the other capital project that the city was looking to address for the park. And so the funding, as you mentioned or asked earlier, the funding for the pool is what's really costing us all these dollars. So the pool itself, there was a survey, there was a survey done, and residents voted on, I believe there was 3 options to pick from, and residents decided that they liked the option 3 of the park redevelopment of the pool. And so within that, that includes preserving and keeping the outer shape of the pool and working to, again, fix the infrastructure of the pool to prevent it leaking. But also, this new plan will include a Olympic-sized pool for competitions, for schools to utilize, for our summer activities, to teach parents and children how to swim. So there will be a Olympic-sized pool, competition pool there. There will also be I forget how you call that part of the pool, but there will be a separate side of the pool that is not Olympic size. So it'll have the free open range for people to swim just as regularly as they used to. The park that is inside of the that sits outside of the pool area, that's also going to be redeveloped. That playground at this point is really non-existent, and so we're looking to have state of the art, from what I'm hearing, state of the art playgrounds being built and placed right near the pool. So for families who come into the pool, mom and dad can sit on the grass and be by the park to be able to watch the kids as they play and still be able to go back and forth between the pool and the playground. So part of that is to make sure that the families and individuals who are visiting the park are having the opportunity to have convenience where you don't have to leave out the pool house to go to another part of the park to watch your kids. It's all being done right there. The pool itself, was a big topic of discussion throughout the year. The city had put out multiple surveys and examples, or excuse me, drafts of different types of pool settings. And again, the option three was what voters mostly supported. So, spray pads, um, all those different things will be included into this pool, which yeah, the voters, that's what they chose. So looks like that's what we're going with.
For years, I've heard people say that Lincoln Park has been underutilized. Once all of these new things will be built,
Hmm.
I think that it's going to be comparable to, let's say, Washington Park.
I would say so. Um, I would say that this redevelopment of Lincoln Park will make Lincoln Park its own standout park destination. Whereas we see a lot of festivals and farmers markets and things being done at Washington Park. I believe the feel for Lincoln Park is more of a activity oriented park. So, for as much as we hear in the community that there's not enough for our kids and the youth to do, I think the goal with Lincoln Park was to put as much amenities and things inside the park for residents to utilize and enjoy. So being able to have a active rugby field, volleyball field, having space for cricket, football. We have multiple basketball courts now. Um, these are things that differentiate from Washington Park. Washington Park is a nice park to walk through and sit at. Lincoln Park, we want this to be an attraction. And I think, again, with the amenities and the um, designs that are being put inside the park, that Lincoln Park is going to be just that. I think the area around Lincoln Park supports the development of the park, and residents are looking forward to utilizing that space and getting out there and having barbecues, and not to mention the amphitheater that is supposed to be built inside the park to be able to have organizations and groups host events, concerts, school plays, as well as updating the pool house to make sure that the inside of the pool house, where staff members, community members go to work out, making sure that the facility is updated and modernized. And that is going to, again, make Lincoln Park its own attraction here in the city of Albany. I truly believe that.
So, you represent that area now, and I read in the paper that there will be redistricting. Will you still represent that area once the redistricting is done?
So, yes, in regards to Lincoln Park, yes. Based off like the new drafted lines, it looks like the Seventh Ward will be expanding a little bit further down Morton Avenue to cover more of Lincoln Park. I believe that it looks based off the map, it looks like the ward lines will for the Seventh Ward will stop down on Morton and about I think South Swan, or possibly, yeah, I believe South Swan, but possibly that intersection of Eagle Street. So that's still being determined, but the park will still be in the Seventh Ward as most of it already is.
Hmm.
So
So,
again, just
I,
very excited about that. Very excited. I'm an active person. I cycle. I play basketball and stuff. So for me, I'm excited to see the community's reaction to the park once it's completed.
there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the plaza. Will Lincoln Park take anything away from what's been going on at the plaza all the years?
I don't think so. I think the events at the plaza are really specific to the plaza in terms of the concerts and things like that. I don't think Lincoln Park would be the alternative location to that. But I think when it comes to um, convenience, being able to have the plaza there in the summertime with the concerts
Mhm.
and just being able to walk a block or two over to the new redeveloped park, I think that is going to keep people and want to be around that area longer because you can easily, go from the park to the plaza to watch the concert,
Mhm.
to walking up Madison Avenue to Lark Street for dinner or Delaware Avenue for dinner. So that whole area right there is just blooming with nothing but potential. And I think both locations will help each other. And you're close by in that area, so we get the best of both worlds. We get to look out our windows at the plaza and see the fireworks in the summertime, and then having to enjoy, again, just walking right across the street and enjoying the sunset in the park.
Right.
So Lincoln Park is definitely one of those locations that always had the potential to be great and amazing. It just took some time to get people to notice that and invest in it. And as I mentioned earlier, Ed Mittens and Business for Good saw that potential in Lincoln Park, and they're working to invest in the South End. They're also one of the investors for Hattie's, which is coming to the South End, small business. And the goal of this is to improve our neighborhood, improve our area, and making sure that people have access to businesses, shops, parks, playgrounds, everything that makes up a community. Just making sure that we have that here in the Seventh Ward.
I thought that Hattie's was supposed to open up this past spring. It hasn't opened up yet.
No, I still see the sign in the window. So I believe there's still some things going on with it. But in terms of the commitment that Business for Good has made to this project, um,
Okay.
they are putting their money where their mouth is. And they're also working to challenge and bring on other local businesses and stakeholders to fundraise the money for this project.
Uh huh. So
So
good.
hoping all that works out.
What else is going on in the common council?
Well, there's a few things. As you mentioned earlier, we just wrapped up a little bit with the redistricting commission
Uh-huh.
and hearing their feedback from their findings of going out and looking at the city of Albany and identifying places and areas in our neighborhoods that we have minimal or little minority representation. And again, their goal of that commission was just to identify neighborhoods that, over the last few years, populations have grown and the characteristics and the makeup of the neighborhood has changed to now have more minority, majority, majority minority wards. And that is huge for the city of Albany. I believe this is the first time that the Albany Common Council has had this many people of color or minorities on the council. And that has been eye-opening when we start to have our discussions at council meetings pertaining to community concerns, whether it's about the gun violence that's happening, whether it's about some of the projects that we're seeing happen. Um, there's a lot of um, development happening over in North Albany. Down on Broadway, our downtown is getting built up. It looks like every day there's a new building going up downtown. And so these are things that we're seeing, we're acknowledging, and being able to have a shared understanding of our communities and what the needs are, we're more able to um, have real conversations that start to address the root causes and some of the things that we as a council should be doing. And so um, we've been having some long discussions at our council meetings. I'm not sure if you've been seeing the most recent ones, but as of late, we've been having tons of people come in. One of the concerns that most recently I've been working to address is the situation of public safety surrounding our schools, more specifically Green Tech Charter School. So Green Tech Charter School is right here in the 7th Ward, right off of Morton Avenue by Lincoln Park. And, the highway is over in that direction. So again, we're dealing with a lot of complaints from families and parents in regards to, traffic concerns, cars speeding, just making sure that the proper signage is up and visible for drivers to see as well as the students. And so, when the schools reach out and, they express their concerns about these public safety issues that have been going on for years, it's concerning because this is right in front of a school. We send our kids there. We send them there to be safe. Parents allow their kids to walk home and walk home from school. The school allows the students to go out for lunch. And so in that corridor, there's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of movement. And we want to make sure, or I want to make sure, along with the school and parents, that these type of issues are getting addressed. These are the public safety issues. These are the quality of life issues that our residents want to see being addressed. And again, being on the council allows me to be able to have more of those type of conversations with some of our community members. And I'm just grateful to be able to be in this position.
Well, sir, that was great. And, if you see anything or know anything that you'd like to come on Focus in Albany and talk about, please contact me. And I'll just keep, looking at the paper and seeing what's going on. And if I see anything, I'll call you. So,
Absolutely.
so if somebody wants to get in contact with you, how could they do so?
They can do so reaching directly out to me. My phone number is up on the City of Albany's website. So you can contact me there with any questions or concerns. I also have a website, which is www.sergio, the number 4, council.com. I'm also on social media on Facebook as Sergio Adams and on Instagram as Councilman Sergio Adams. So readily accessible. And again, I greatly appreciate you having me onto the show and updating your listeners about what's going on in the city of Albany.
Thank you so much, Sergio. We will talk again. So
Absolutely.
you've been listening to Sergio Adams. I'm Cynthia Pooler. This is Focus on Albany. So if you like this show, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Sergio, have a great weekend.
Thank you, Cynthia. It was a blast.
Thank you.